Hello and welcome to Right on the Money, providing you and your family the necessary information you need to make informed financial decisions. So again, in case you're just joining us, our guest today, Bob Duchin, owner and operator of Robert J. Duchin and Associates Limited out of Pittsburgh and
Port St. Lucie, Florida.
Port St. Lucie, Florida. Now, we've been talking about Bob's book, we've been talking about Bob's practice, and we're going to dive back into the book because your book, Sleep Well at Night, is a fascinating book. It's divided up into two sections, really, correct?
Yes.
The front 9, the back 9. Bob is a golfer.
I've golfed most of my career, and I find it a very relaxing time because I'm so dedicated to my business. When I'm on the golf course, I'm concentrating on golf. I play a pretty decent game, so I'm concentrating on golf. And then when I'm done golfing, I'm concentrating on my clients.
You mentioned earlier in one of the segments that you sponsored some hole-in-ones, and I forgot to ask you about this. Anyone ever hit a hole-in-one on your...
Well, it's funny you ask. I'm fortunate enough to say I've had 6 hole-in-ones in my career.
Personally?
And personally, yes. And one of my hole-in-ones was a sponsor that I did. In other words, there was an event at my old country club, and I sponsored the hole-in-one on four holes, and I happened to get one of the hole-in-ones, and I was one of the only ones the company said that the sponsor was one that obtained the hole-in-one. So I ended up winning my own prize, which was cute. But I've had probably 4 or 5 gifts given out, major gifts, trips to Hawaii, $5,000
Wow.
cash, a lot of good things. But the reason I do that is because, of course, it's nice to get my name in front of people, but I don't expect anybody at the end of a golf game, they see my name, my designations, I want to talk to Bob Duchin. No, I want these people to realize who I am. I'm available to talk to them. I'm helping the sponsorship. I've done some very nice charity events too, as well as professional tournaments in Western PA.
I can see it in your practice. I can see it in talking to you. When you work with someone, and especially with your experience, it really is a relationship. And it's not selling something. It is a relationship because 47 years you've literally walked clients from beginning to end.
Some of my clients have been with me for 40, 45 years. Some of them are some of my best friends. They're like family to me. And in my book, we've had some clients that have responded to questionnaire tell us about Bob and his practice, and they've done some great contributions to the book. And I can call any one of my clients up and ask them to dinner, or they're just really part of my family. And then I have clients that are not, that I just deal with them for whatever reason. I deal with them because I want to help them individually, but again, some have become very personal, good friends.
And I think it's a testimony to your practice that you pretty much are working off referral now.
Absolutely. If I help somebody and they like what I did, they have no. If you purchased a car for me and I did a good job, you'll recommend Dr. Jones to buy a car from this guy because he really cares for you.
Well, let's dive back into the book. So let's, in the book, we've talked about the front 9 earlier, which really dealt with protecting income and especially with physicians, protecting their practice and really themselves because they are their practice. But now we're looking at the back 9, and the back 9 deals with
the clients now that are thinking about retiring. They're getting close, but I find a lot of my doctors will not retire at 65. A lot of them are like me. They enjoy what they do. They have a lot of money. They just enjoy. I have one doctor that's 78, 79, still practicing.
Oh my God.
Okay? There's no products to be purchased by this, but I'm servicing what he's already purchased. But I find that these doctors, a lot of them want to stay doing because they enjoy what they do. And the back 9 of my book basically says, okay, now you've completed your career. You are thinking about retiring. Your life insurance, because your kids are on their own, you don't owe money like you used to owe. It may not be important. I recommend that it may not be needed because your estate is not subject to estate tax purposes. You're okay. Unless you want your wife to have a lot of money for some reason, we keep the insurance, but I don't think it's as necessary possibly as it was growing up. Disability, usually after age 65, the product becomes more limited, where it might only be a 2-year benefit. And he may, because he's built up such a large pension or products that he's purchased from me, he may not even need disability. We talk about that. But then we really get into, okay, at age 65 or age 70, you're retiring now. Do you want to have risk in your retirement plan, or do you want to have guarantees? Now, I'm security licensed. If a client at that age wants to move some money into securities, I might either say, I'm going to back off. I don't want the responsibility. Back in the 2002, 2008, I mentioned in our first segment, the market lost 20, 30, 40%. I couldn't go to you next year and say, you know that $1 million, it's down to 600. I couldn't knock on that door. I feel scared and I didn't do the job. But when the products that these my clients purchase now, they know that million is growing, guaranteed by special riders, and I'll explain that later.
Let's talk before we get there. As we're making I don't golf, so I believe the term is making the turn, right, to that back nine. Mm-hmm. You mention in the book that there really, when it comes down to it, there really are only three main sources, if you categorize it, of retirement income, of where that retirement income is going to come from. So,
exactly. You have Social Security. Okay, we all know what that is. In my situation, since I'm over age 65, I'm clearing about $3,000 a month for my wife and I. It doesn't even come close to covering my bills. Private pension plans that they have either through their own practice, 401ks they've set up, profit sharing plans, different types of plans that they've set up, that's an income to them. But many, many times they find that's still not enough because doctors are accustomed to living very good and they want to have more money coming in.
Well, they work hard, they deserve
exactly. So there are other options, and that's where I hopefully come in and I could recommend, guarantee that when they're ready to walk away, there's going to be a check besides Social Security coming in that's going to be guaranteed every single month. No matter what happens to the stock market, that check is guaranteed to be in that mailbox.
Well, I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to hear about this, and this is a great spot. Unfortunately, we have to cut for just a second here because we're out of time with this segment, but coming up on Right on the Money, more with Bob. We're going to talk about two real risks out there that a lot of people forget to even consider. We'll be right back after this.